He was one of the most famous and popular of the writers who used the gold rush for inspiration, background, and characters. As much as any history book, his writings informed the world of life on the American frontier. Mark Twain was essentially a Westerner, and his humor was the tall tale. He wrote for the ear rather than the eye, and his style had the loose rhythm of speech. And he always wrote as if he was telling a fantastic story, which he fully expected to be believed. This is Charlie Jones and Merlin Olsen. Mark Twain was born Samuel Clemens in 1835. He had an adventurous youth. He was a journeyman painter, a riverboat pilot. He was even a member of the Confederate Army, but that only lasted a couple of weeks near the end of the Civil War. He came west when he was 26, tried prospecting, was not too successful. He found only fool's gold. It was while he was here in Virginia City, Nevada, working for the Territorial Enterprise at $25 a week, that he started to develop his own unique writing style. It was also here that he changed his name, adopting the pen name Mark Twain, a name that had originally been used by a Mississippi riverboat pilot by the name of Isaiah Sellers when he was writing for a New Orleans newspaper. When Sellers died, Samuel Clemens became Mark Twain. Mark Twain, by the way, in riverboat terminology also means 2 fathoms, or safe water. And Merlin, Territorial Enterprise journalism was one of exaggerated character, and that fit the style of Mark Twain, who never let the facts get in the way of a good story. He would change the facts or just color them a bit from his own imagination. And there's no doubt that his career was enhanced by his sidekick, Dan DeQuille. They tippled together, they created hoaxes together, they were roommates about the same size, so he would borrow Dan's clothing and then complain about its quality. But his stay in Nevada was cut short when he was challenged to a duel, because he'd written that James Laird of a rival newspaper was a coward and a liar. Laird backed out of the duel when a friend of Twain's shot the head off a passing bird and gave Twain, who literally couldn't hit the barn door, credit for the accurate shooting. Even though Nevada had just passed anti-dueling laws, Twain left for California to put some distance between himself and John Laird. His next stop was San Francisco, where his robust style was well suited to that metropolis. When a young lady blew her nose in public, Twain reported, its exquisitely modulated tone excited the admiration of all who had the happiness to hear it. Or Twain could picture the victim of police brutality, sleeping with that calm serenity peculiar to men whose heads have been caved in with a club. He was visiting friends near Angels Camp, California, when he heard a tale that would launch him to national prominence. It was here at the Angels Hotel that an old Mississippi River pilot named Ben Coon related a flight of fancy story about a champion jumping frog named Dan'l Webster, who was secretly fed a handful of buckshot. As a result, old Dan'l just couldn't jump, and his owner lost a mighty big bet. At that time, Twain was staying nearby with his friends the Gillises, and it was here in this cabin that Mark Twain wrote The Celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. It became an overnight sensation, and he left for the East and never returned. Twain went on to write such masterpieces as Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and would be called the Lincoln of our literature. His special humor is reflected in sayings like, "Man is the only animal that blushes, or needs to. Let us be thankful for fools, but for them, the rest of us could not succeed." There are several good protections against temptation, but the surest is cowardice. Mark Twain. He wrote with a vitality and exaggerated humor that mirrored the lifestyle of the American frontier.